today we will be making some very simple and delicious chocolate chip cookies. So for our recipe, what we will need is 2 cups of softened butter. We will also need 2 eggs. We will need 2 cups of chocolate chips, half a teaspoon of salt. We will need 2 teaspoons of vanilla right here. And then we will also need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Alright, we will also need 2 cups of brown sugar and half a cup of white sugar. Alright, so what we will need to do first is we will need to put our 2 cups of butter into our mixing bowl. Then we will need to add the sugar, so we'll need to add our 2 cups of brown sugar with our 2 cups of butter. And then we will also need to add our half a cup of white sugar. Okay, so now what you're going to need to do, you're going to need to add the eggs. Okay, so for the eggs, I just crack them in a separate bowl so you don't get any shells in the bowl, which is good. That's why I have my separate bowl for the shells. So we're going to add the eggs now. Now all of our wet ingredients are added except for our 1 teaspoon of vanilla, which we will now add. So now all of our wet ingredients are added to this one mixture. So now we're going to have to mix it. You can either mix it by hand pretty thoroughly, or you can use any mixer, just until it's all combined. What we're going to do is we're going to have to preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and put it on bake, and that will have the oven at a perfect temperature for when we're ready to put the cookies in. Okay, so now that we have our liquid mixture completely mixed up, now you're going to want to take a separate bowl and mix all of our dry ingredients. So you want to take our 2 cups of flour, and you want to dump that, it's all-purpose flour, you want to dump it all in this bowl. Then what you want to do, take the 2 teaspoons of baking powder, dump that in there too, and take your half a teaspoon of salt and dump that in. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mix it up just a little bit, so it's all with like a spoon, you don't need a mixer, just it'll splash out, like I just did there. And so now, what we're going to want to do now that that's all mixed, is we're going to want to add that to our wet mixture. So you want to add it like slowly, or no, you want to just dump it in. So once you have that mixed in, you want to put it back under your mixer, or if you're doing it by hand, that's fine. And now what we want to do is we want to start it going. You want to start out soft, because especially now it will jump out. You don't want it to go too fast, or else the flour will come out, and then you can slowly speed it up. I'll be right back when it finishes mixing. Okay, so now that we have our liquid mixture completely mixed up, now you're going to want to take a separate bowl and mix all of our dry ingredients. So you want to take our 2 cups of flour, and you want to dump that, it's all-purpose flour, you want to dump it all in this bowl. Then what you want to do, take the 2 teaspoons of baking powder, dump that in there too, and take your half a teaspoon of salt and dump that in. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to mix it up just a little bit, so it's all with like a spoon, you don't need a mixer, just it'll splash out, like I just did there. And so now, what we're going to want to do now that that's all mixed, is we're going to want to add that to our wet mixture. So you want to add it like slowly, or no, you want to just dump it in. So once you have that mixed in, you want to put it back under your mixer, or if you're doing it by hand, that's fine. And now what we want to do is we want to start it going. You want to start out soft, because especially now it will jump out. You don't want it to go too fast, or else the flour will come out, and then you can slowly speed it up. I'll be right back when it finishes mixing. So now that we have mixed our dry ingredients with our wet ingredients, what we're going to do is now we're going to have to mix in our chocolate chips. So what we have to do, it's good to mix them in slowly. So you take a spoon, you want to start it off just at like a slow mixing pace. and you just want to knock them in real slow and easy, or else they won't mix properly. So once you have them in, you can speed it up, and then it'll mix the chocolate chips in there real thorough, so each cookie is the perfect number of chocolate chips, and it'll be perfectly delicious. Okay, so now what you want to do, now that you have all of our mixture mixed up, is you're going to want to wipe that off, and we're going to get out our cookie trays. So now we have our 2 cookie trays with our parchment paper laid on top. So what you're going to want to do is you want to mix the dough into little balls. You don't want to make them too big because we're only going to cook it for 10 minutes at 375 degrees. It's only about 10 minutes depending on your oven. So you want to make the balls pretty small. I like to get like 3 or 4 maybe in a row on these sheets for my size. So yeah. So now that we are done putting all of our cookies on the trays, what you're going to want to do is you're going to take a cookie tray. You're going to want to put it in the oven. The oven's got to be at 375 degrees. And then, so once that's in, you want to take your other set of cookies. You're going to want to put them in with it. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get some kind of timer, either a microwave timer, just a simple timer like this. You're going to want to take it. You're going to want to set the timer to go for 9 minutes. Depending on your oven, the time you have to keep checking the cookies because it could take up to 15 minutes if you have a older oven, or it could be up to 9. So it really just depends on what type of oven you have, so just keep checking it. So this type of cookie makes a lot of dough, so you will have some left over, and what you're going to want to do is just repeat the process of putting it on the tray with parchment paper, putting it in the oven for like 9 to 10 minutes, maybe a little more, and just keep checking them. But you will definitely have some left over if you're only doing 2 trays. Alright. So now that our timer has gone off, you want to stop that. Now let's check the cookies. I'm sorry about the phone. This is the look of the cookies you want when you take them out, because they will continue to slightly cook once you take them out. So first you're going to take one out at a time. You're going to have your cookie racks over here. What I like to do is I like to just pull the sheet off, and then that way they're all right there. And what you want to do is you want to take, I'm so sorry about the phone, you want to take your piece and you want to put it on a stovetop just so it doesn't break anything. Now you're going to want to take our other cookie tray, I'm so sorry about the phone, you want to take our other cookie tray, and what you want to do is we're going to do the same thing. I like to pull it off with one hand and then pull this off so all it does is stick. Don't they look delicious? Now I'm going to take this and put it back on my stovetop. You want to make sure it's on the stovetop. That way it doesn't set anything on fire, because that's a bad thing. So now what you would want to do is you just add your parchment paper, reload, do another 9-minute timer, just check them, and that will be the same thing. So, don't these cookies look delicious? Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below and subscribe for more. Thank you.